So hi guys, and welcome back to another vlog. So this is the motherhood ship. Feel very welcome. If you're a first time viewer, don't hesitate to hit the subscribe button, and I hope you really enjoy this vlog. So this vlog comes after some thinking, and as you can see on the title, I'm going to talk about my visa refusal, and this happened in 2023, that is last year in September. And it was a very low moment. It was one of those low moments in my life generally, because the journey of wanting to come here started early in 2020. That's when I started looking for information, and my family and I, that is. So we started looking, how can we do this? What do we need to do? Is there anything long term we need to start doing before we think of going, and things like that. So it started from way back. So you can see the desire was there in me. And so, like, it's like when you're destined to be something, and you always feel that urge, that push from within yourself to to always go for more. So I always felt the urge. And so in 2023, as we were doing our family resolutions, we just thought we've been putting this thing back since 2020, 2021, 2022. Like, we've been prioritizing, and so many things were happening in our life. Trust you me, it's not like we just start in 2021. So many things happened in 2022. So many things happened in 2020. That's actually when we had our son. So of course the year was packed. So we finally thought, I think 2023 is a bit relaxed. Why don't we just take this thing that we've been shelving? So all the effort, all the energy, all the concentration, we started doing a bit of savings just to see if this dream can be realized. So a lot of things happened between January and September, but I'll talk about September because that's when I got my visa refusal. So in early September, that's when I launched my visa application. And so we did the application pretty, like, we made sure to like make sure all the holes are sealed, to seal all the holes. So if there was any question, we tried thinking like these visa officers, like, if there's any question, have we answered it in our application? And so we thought the application was very strong. So that was on September 8th, and then on September 12th, we did our biometrics. So for the Canada visa, if you're very familiar with the process, what happens is that you make the application online, and then if you don't have valid biometrics, you have to take your biometrics. So the biometrics are taken every 10 years. And then after the biometrics, now depending with the visa you're pursuing. So for example, the visa I was pursuing is a study visa. I hope you've gone back a few videos to just see, so that you don't float in this vlog. Anyway, so I am a student, and so the study visa requires that you have to take your medical exam, because you will be in this country for more than 6 months. So any kind of visa you're pursuing that means you'll be here for more than 6 months, then you'll have to take your medical exam. So it's the application, the biometrics, the medical, and then now you wait for the finished process. So at that time, I did my biometrics on 12th September, and I was very excited. Like, when I went there, I found huge queues up to the gate. Like, we were so many people going for our biometrics, and I think it's because that office serves different nationalities, and it also serves different destinations. So like, people going to Europe, I found people going to Italy, and then there's now Canada. So there were a lot of people during that day. Yeah, so I mean, you get some pressure, and then you're thinking, what, like, I'm just a tiny dot compared to all these people. What makes me different in the application I made? yeah, so you start thinking like that. And so yeah, there was a lot of that. I mean, it's very natural to feel that, but I was very, like, I still felt the urge behind me. So we now started the waiting game. So after you've done your biometrics, there's nothing else to do. Now you have to sit and wait for either the medical request, like you have to sit and wait for some correspondence. It will either be good or bad, but I was very hopeful it would be a good correspondence. So after 2 weeks, I remember it was on 27th September. I will just throw in the correspondence letters as we go. So on 27th September, what happened is that it was a Wednesday. I remember it was a Wednesday morning, and I had a very early meeting outside the office, an official meeting, but it was not in office. So uh, yeah, so I went to the meeting. Sorry, you'll hear some cars pass because there is a road just next to our building. So I went to the meeting, and so of course in the meeting I didn't use my phone. I went with my phone on silent mode because I didn't want to distract the meeting, and I didn't want to be distracted as well. So the meeting was, I think, from early in the morning, like 8:30, and we were finishing almost at 10 a.m. So we were finishing at 10 a.m. and that's when, as I was walking to the elevator, I got to my phone, and then I scrolled my notifications bar to check like if I had missed a call or I have any important notifications to respond to. And I saw that dreadful email from do not reply cic.gc@ca or something like that. That's the official email that they communicate. So I was shaking, and I was like, why did they respond to me so soon? It was like 2 weeks since the biometrics date, because remember I went for my biometrics on 12th, and this was on 27th September, so it was 15 days. And I was like, no way, they've processed everything and now they want my medical after 15 days. But I was like, okay, let me, remain hopeful that probably, yeah, could be, I don't know, could be. So anyway, the only way to find out was open the email. So I opened the email, and these emails tell you nothing. So they'll tell you, we have important updates on your application. Please log into your portal because you make the application on the portal. So I quickly logged into my portal, and I was trembling, like I was shaking the whole time. I even had to sit down on one of the seats provided at the meeting place where I was to just see what was happening. I opened my portal and I see this correspondence letter. So I opened the correspondence letter, and it was a refusal. Man, I tell you, I felt bad. I don't know when last I felt that bad. You know, I felt so bad. I felt so bad that, I mean, why? And the only reason they gave, as you can see, is that my assets and financial situation were not convincing enough. So there was a problem with the bank statements, or there was a problem with the assets that I gave out. Most likely when you get that reason, it's usually because of the bank statement. Either it is inadequate or it's not reliable. Reliable, I don't mean fake. Reliable, I mean maybe you're showing you have 10 million Kenya shillings, but you're not showing the source of that 10 million, you get? So yeah, so for example, is it your salary? Do you have a business? Did you sell something to get, 10 million? Another reason would be that you put lump sum money in your lump sum money in at once. Like, so maybe one day you went and deposited 5 million, and they're wondering where did this 5 million come from, when the account activity, maybe normally the account activity on a good month doesn't even get to 1 million. So how come now it's at 5 million? So the bank statement you give is usually, they say 3 to 4 months, some even give 6 months, and they think I'd given 6 months worth of bank statement just to show consistency. Now, the thing with my first application is that when, during this entire process, I'm telling you, a lot of things happened from January up to September when I made the application. So there was a lot of things that happened. And one of them was that someone wanted to sponsor my education. And so they gave me their bank statement. And when I got that response, that is the first thing that came to my mind. And so I read about it online. And again, I want to say there's a lot of good information online from Quora. I got a lot of information from Quora, from YouTube. They are very good YouTubers who give very good information. Yeah, and even Google, just on the official canada.ca website, there's a lot of information. So one of the things that I gathered was that sponsored documents are not very welcome, and especially if this sponsor is not related to you. So I remember on the canada.ca website, they said the sponsor has to be a relative. So it's either your mom, your dad, or it's your uncle, or it's your, someone, a blood relative, or it's your husband who, that can be explained. But now getting someone who is not even related to you, and then now you're saying you'll be able to access that money, how will you access that money, and it's not in your name, So yeah, that was one of the other things that came immediately to our heads when we discussed it, even with my husband, and we thought, that's probably why, so we need to change it. So I mean, there was that, and there was also, do we give up? Do we just say this is a sign from God that you're not supposed to go there, and forget about that we ever did this? Remember, it's a lot of money, because for the application fees that you pay for your visas, you do not get a reimbursement when you do not get the visa. Yeah, so you have to be very careful about your next actions if you do get a refusal like I did. Now, something that is totally different and may give you different outcomes is when you want to use fake documents. And if we've talked personally, I'm not an advocate of using fake documents. You would rather show, even if you want to fake a bank statement, you would rather show the little you have. Trust you me, the amount I don't think matters. It has to be a reasonable amount, yes, but as long as you can show how you got the money, it doesn't matter. You don't have to show like 20 millions worth of an account. People I know who got bans with tens of millions in their account, and it's because they decided to use fake bank statements. And you can get fake bank statements anywhere, but the repercussions of using fake documents in a visa application process is that if you're found out, it translates to a ban. So a ban means that the country doesn't want you in their territory in the next 5 years. So for Canada, it is a 5-year ban. Now, a 5-year ban here might affect your other applications to the Five Eyes, to the US, to Australia, to New Zealand, which is the other country. So they're called the Five Eye countries. They share information. So if you have a ban in US, or you got deported in US, it might affect your application here. So it's very careful that when you make decisions to fake your documents, just know the repercussions. Yeah, so I don't advocate for fake documents at all. You'd rather just go the pure process. It is truly worth it. So what are the options after getting a refusal? So personally, for me, when we reasoned it out with my husband, we kind of could see the reason. As I told you, it was because of the sponsor documents. And so the resolution of it was quite easy. But sometimes you're given many reasons, and I have seen other refusals where you're given even 5 reasons. They tell you we don't, your reasons, do not add up, or they tell you your your financials are not okay, or they tell you we doubt that you will leave the country after your reason of visit. So if it is a study, they'll tell you maybe you won't go back to your country. That means you didn't show enough home ties. So yeah, there are so many reasons that you could get, as you can see, and these sometimes need proper thinking. You don't rush to do a reapplication. So one of the options that we have with the Canada visa applications is that you can apply for GCMS notes. So these GCMS notes are the visa officer notes. So basically, when they are reviewing your application, they take notes. So they see you, because the Canada visa is purely documented. It's just the documents you give. That's what I mean. There is no interview. They tried to introduce interviews sometime last year, but then it didn't go for long. So right now they just review what you share based on the documents only. They may ask for additional documents, but based on whatever you have provided, that's what they use to make a decision. So it is very important to have like proper documents. So when the visa officer is reviewing your documents, they will note down, and these notes are available to you if you ask for them. It's usually a small cost, I think $5 or yeah, but it is worth it, and it takes I think 30 days or less, depends, but I think the maximum it takes is 30 days if you order. So I mean, if you really want to know the reason, because in the refusal letter they tend to give very vague reasons. So you see, like, mine is assets and financial situation, but what about them? Is it that my assets are not enough? Is it that they have a problem? Is it that you doubt the source? Sometimes you need to understand, like, what is it. When you tell me uh, uh, inconsistency in the application and your reason of visit, what do you mean? Is it that I didn't convince you enough that I will leave the country after my intended purpose? Or what is it? So when you get the GCMS notes, and I have seen a few GCMS notes, what they tell you is a specific reason. So like in one, they had said this person has provided, say 20 million, a ridiculous amount of money, but the person did not show the source. Okay, so another one was told about not leaving the country after the intended purpose, and this is because they didn't have adequate employment. So I think they forgot to attach the employment letters, their pay slips. Others, the pay slips, the salaried amount did not add up in the bank statement, things like that. And sometimes, people have different bank statements. So it is something you can explain. But if you didn't explain it in your documents, these people don't know. Yeah, so the first step I would say is to get the GCMS notes that tell you the exact reason. Otherwise, if you make a reapplication without understanding the exact reasons, then what you might be doing is just paying and paying and getting refusals. And, this is money that is not coming back, and it's a lot of money. So you'd rather spend the $5 getting the notes, and get a proper thing done. So yeah, personally, I did not. So I waited, I think 3-4 days, and I made the reapplication because we were quite sure. And so we just scrapped off the sponsor documents. And so I used my husband as the sponsor. And that is pretty acceptable. And especially, when you're a certain age, like I'm 30 this year, married. So when I'm married, why would I be showing my father's documents? You know? When I'm married, why would I be showing my uncle's documents? There is my father, there is my mother, there is my husband. So why am I showing my uncle's documents? So sometimes it's also good to reason like them when you're making an application. Like don't just show documents for the sake of it. Okay, you're showing this. Does it make sense? So yeah, that's kind of what we did. And so we now scrapped off the documents, and we got an affidavit of support done by my husband that he'll be supporting my education, and that is acceptable. Yeah, and I think we will continue there in my part 2 about how I came from the visa refusal to a visa acceptance in my second try. So if you're interested to hear the story, kindly click on the subscription button, click on the notifications bell, because that's the only way you'll be notified when I upload next. Like, share, and comment. Share this video with your friends. I know there's a lot of discouragement happening. I've seen the online platforms I'm part of, and people are just saying, "Oh, don't apply right now." There are a lot of refusals. There are people who are still getting visas. It's just that most of the time people don't want to talk about it, because of personal reasons and things like that. I mean, people have all their reasons. So, but visas are getting out. Please apply. If you get a refusal, if you need help with information, I will be very happy to help. So please get to me on the email on the description box. I do not charge anything. Like, if we have talked about your visa, please comment down below, and just, I'm not an authorized agent in any way. So even the information I give here is just based on my information and knowledge and experience. With my experience, like, I have helped people do their applications, study applications, visitor applications, work permit applications. So I do have some information I could share. However, I will not be doing applications on behalf of anybody because I'm not an authorized agent. So if you feel like you want some more info, please get to me. I'll be happy to help. Yeah, and see you on the next one. Bye.